Hey guys, so here's a quick video. Well, not that quick. I wanted to touch base with you guys. Nope, not touch base with you guys. I wanted to, well, I'm multitasking right now, as you can probably tell. But I had this thought while I was driving, which is when I get a lot of my, thoughts and ideas. And as a realtor, I spend a lot of time in the car. But I was thinking about these discount agents, discount brokerages that are more prevalent during a seller's market, right? It's either an agent that goes to your house or one of these companies, and they'll offer to sell your house for a very small percentage or a flat fee. And I was just listening to this book, and this thought came to me. There's always that thought, there's always one of those arguments that you pay for, you get what you pay for, right? That's one thought. Another thing in our industry is that we consider when, let's say, an agent that doesn't do a lot of business, or just somebody that has that model of discounting, what that's called is buying the listing. So a couple of things that might happen is that they'll tell you that your house might be worth way more than it actually is, right? So you get all happy with the numbers and figures and everything. You're like, wow, that's a lot of money. Or, that might be, let's say you convince them of the market price, right? Of the price to list your home. Which is another problem that you can fall into as an agent, where instead of telling the truth and listing at the correct price, you go with what the seller, the homeowner, says they think the house is worth, right? And our job is to analyze the market and determine what we think your house is worth based on the comparable sales, based on the current market conditions, based on the location of your house, the condition of your house, what the types of renovations that you might have done, might be needed, so on and so forth. A lot of variables. But what happens is that sometimes an agent will be like, I know that another agent will come in and say that, agree with the homeowner and say, yes, your house is worth $1 million, when in reality it's worth, let's say, $800,000. And what they'll also do is they'll say, we'll take X amount of commission, and you'll say, oh, that's less than so and so. So you're looking at it as you're making more money and you're paying less, right? Because you're getting more money. They say the house is worth $1 million, so you're thinking, okay, house is going to sell for $1 million, and now I'm paying this certain commission. And the reason I'm not mentioning numbers is because of the whole antitrust. That's another story. But I'm just kind of giving you an idea here. So it's X percentage less than what others are charging. So at the end of the day, what happens is, let's say the seller, the homeowner gets excited because now their house is worth $1 million. They're paying less commission. They put it on the market. A month goes by, 2 months goes by, 3 months goes by, 4 months goes by, 5 months goes by. Let's say it's a 6-month listing. 6 months goes by. The agent then says, we need to reduce the price, and we're about to expire. That's what happens once the listing is done. So let's say you have a January 2nd expiration date. Your house at midnight on January 2nd is expired, right? So, or I should say January 3rd at 12:01 a.m. it's expired. So they'll try to reduce the price and also, extend the contract. So what happens is that then that's costing you money, because every month that you're not selling, you're still paying mortgage, you're still, let's say it's already paid off, you're still paying other costs of the house. So it's costing you money there. So in that case, when they're promising you the moon and the stars and the less commission, what happens is that it equals wasted time. And unfortunately, let's say right now the market is changing in Queens, right? So prices might come down. So with those 6 months wasted, now you're going to sell for less than you would have if you would have listed it 6 months ago, right? And one of those things, and you're going to see this, it's January, so, once March comes around, the springtime, it's a different market. That's when, a lot of homeowners think that's the hot market to list their home. But what happens is, if you've been listening, even Apple's in trouble with financially. I mean, it's only a 7% dip, but whatever. That was yesterday's news. Their revenue came in 7% less than what they thought. Has nothing to do with this, but just kind of an idea of the market, of the economy, right? So then what happens is you get to the point where the Federal Reserve last year raised interest rates 3 times. Supposedly we're on pace again for another 3 increases this year, which means that there's going to be less qualified buyers, because when the interest rate goes up, some buyers are knocked out of the pool of being able to purchase their home. So in other words, let's say the interest rate was at 4.7 and now the interest rate is, let's say it's 5% by the end of this year, then you're looking at the fact that they no longer qualify for paying that certain price that you have. So let's say they could have qualified for $1 million mortgage 6 months ago or this month, and then next month the Federal Reserve increases the interest rate. They might be knocked out, and they may, by knocked out I mean their mortgage, they may only be approved for a mortgage of, let's say, $900,000. So that's going to happen more and more as interest rates continue to go up. And you can tell that interest rates are going up because, I don't know if you're like me, but with bank accounts, I've gotten notifications that my interest rate that they're paying me on my savings is going up. So when that happens, that means that the banks they can afford to do that because they're lending out money at a higher cost, right? So that's kind of what's going on right now in the market. And when these agents, they give you these promises, or when, companies or what have you, they tell you that they end up making you wait, these are the kind of consequences that happen, where there's less buyers, which means the prices will go down. So that's just what I wanted to share with you guys, kind of something that was on my mind. And that's why when I meet with a client, and I know a lot of my colleagues that do this, you meet with a client, you tell them what what the house is worth, and you do it based on the actual numbers. You don't just pull numbers out of the sky. So that, at the end of the day, will save you money, because you will be able to sell it sooner, which means that you won't be affected by these buyers that are going to lose buying power, and you will be able to take advantage of today's prices. Because the one thing we do know, we know yesterday, we know today's market, but we don't know the futures market. But with the trends that are happening, whether it's foreign trade policy, which impacts some of the money that was coming into the country for buyers that were foreign investors, whether it's interest rates for us here in the United States, whether it's more global economic turmoil, whatever it is. Remember, real estate is cycles, and it's usually a 10-year cycle. We had that big, catastrophe in 2008. It's 2019 now, so we're past the 10-year period, and we can already see the drastic changes that are happening. Luckily, we live in New York, so it's not the same kind of collapse that happened in 2008 as far as real estate, but there will be, prices have come down in certain pockets of Queens, and that trend will continue in 2019 and beyond. As you can go on Google right now and type in potential next recession. People are gunning for 2020 as that date, but between now and then, there will be increases in interest rates, and there will be decreases in prices. So the level at which that's going to get to, that's not known right now, but we do know that the trend is going to go downward, and in some places that has already started. You can also see that days on market is longer, and what that means is it's taking longer to sell houses, especially in certain pockets, especially if you don't price it right, like we were talking about before. So you can, and you'll notice that because if you drive around on a Sunday, you'll see all the for sale signs, and you can drive around Sunday after Sunday after Sunday, you'll still see them. You will not see the sold signs that you were seeing 6 months ago, a year ago. So just an update. I'm sorry for the, the angle, the lighting, the whole nine, but I wanted to provide some value for you as quickly as possible, and it came to my mind, so I wanted to share with you guys. Let me know if you have any questions, if you like this video, if you like more content like this. DM me for more information. Tag somebody that might be interested in this, this might help them. So talk soon.